And welcome back to The Watchman from Jerusalem. We're talking to national security experts Yossi Cooperwasser, Moti Zaken. And Moti, during the break, we were talking about a very interesting issue that people may not know a lot about in the West, the Kurdish issue. Now, you've done a lot of fascinating work with the Kurds. Tell us how they could be a strong ally for the West and possibly Israel.
They pose a prospect for a good ally for America and for Israel. And they have been an ally in a way, but the Kurds are not yet. They are not yet the Eure state, free state. They are de facto.
They're stateless.
Yes, there is a autonomy in Iraqi Kurdistan called KRG, Kurdish Regional Government.
Up in northern Iraq.
Yes, but it's also a part of federation with Iraq. But the Kurds there, and actually it's a safe haven also for the Kurds from Syria and from Iran and for other places. But the Kurds have been oppressed for over a century by the Turkish, by the Iraqis, by the Syrian and by the Iranian regimes. And they have the ability now, and they've been debating whether to proclaim independence. But Turkey is afraid, nothing more that Turkey is afraid from but rather Kurdish independence. This is why they are messing now with Syria, trying to block any prospect of Kurdish independence in Syria.
And Moti, I think of those, the Peshmerga, those fierce Kurdish fighters who are on the front lines against ISIS in Iraq and Syria, really doing the job.
Yes, Peshmerga, facing death. That's the meaning of the...
Those who face death.
Yes. Well, this is a tribal society. In a tribal society, if you don't carry the gun and you don't protect yourself, there's nothing going to stop your enemies. So the Kurdish... because of their non-Arab community and the long history of cooperation with Israel and the help that they have received from the United States, they are going, I hope and I think, from my experience and from my research and being there, they are going to be an ally, but we have to help them.
We got to help them along. That's a great point, Moti. And we're talking about alliances, Yossi, and very interesting right now in the Middle East, where we have the likes of Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Jordan, the Gulf states are very, very concerned about that Iran threat, and seems like there's some strengthening ties with Israel. Can you talk about that a bit?
A little.
Yeah, some unlikely potential alliances, but...
It's not something totally new, but I think that the former administration in the United States contributed a lot to the creation of this alliance between Israel and the pragmatic Arab states, because when they realized that the United States is not there for them, and actually helping the radicals, helping the Muslim Brotherhood, helping Iran, they were looking to Israel, because Israel was the only one who was here to stay and totally determined to fight radicalism of all sorts. And that's how this cooperation was coming up. And
the Obama administration, Yossi, unwittingly brought Israel together with these nations.
And now there's an opportunity here, because the new administration is in favor of this attitude. It adopts the same attitude that says radicalism, including Muslim Brotherhood, including the Iranian radicalism, including, of course, ISIS and the extreme radicalism of these extreme groups, are all dangers. All should be confronted. And this is exactly the approach of the pragmatic states. For them, it's an existential issue. And because of that, they even say to themselves, we are committed to the Palestinian issue, but we are not going to let the Palestinian issue stand between us and the survival of our countries. And that's a new opportunity that the new administration can build upon. And for us, of course, in Israel, it's a wonderful situation where we can actually help our neighbors and let them help us in facing the threats of radical Islam in the region. And where the West is going to join us is because they also want to protect the West from radical Islam. Everybody is worried about radical Islam. I think this is the basis for this alliance between the different forces that are fighting radical Islam. And this is critical fight, critical battle that we have to win.
The global jihad is on the march, gentlemen. And you know, there's so much we could have talked about today. The Palestinians, Yemen, so many other issues. We'll have to have you back here in the Watchmen, guys. It was great. Yossi Kuperwasser, Moti Zaken, thank you so much, gentlemen. And a new day, hopefully, in the Middle East. We shall see. Interesting times we're living in. Much more coming up after the break. Final thoughts here on the Watchmen. Stick around.